Welcome to another episode of the Fair Chase podcast. Today I've got a special guest, and actually this is the final episode in our long run of hunting stories series. So Jared and
There
I
we
have
go.
been running with this for a while, and we thought we bring Nick Palacios in. Am I pronouncing your
Yeah,
name?
yeah, man, you got it.
When I was in college, my wife and I met in dorms that were like connected. So there's like the girl dorm and
Mm.
the boy dorm, right? And her name was Natalie Palacios, and
Oh, really? Huh.
yeah, she was out of Florida, not Texas though. And so now when I saw your name, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I know how to say that.
Yeah, man, you said it perfect. A lot of people tend to botch it every which way they can. So
Is it
that was very
Cuban?
well done. No, it's Spanish actually.
Spanish. Okay, all right.
Yep. Yep.
So anyways, we're on our final, this is our final episode. We're about to jump into a 8-week series over the summer on preparing for whitetail
Mm.
season. So everything from layering to exercise to getting your bows dialed, everything else. We're going to be bringing in people from all over the place. Some you've heard of, some you might not have ever heard of, and we're going to be doing that. But I wanted to round out this story series with you, Nick. You know, you and I have kind of messaged a little bit back and forth on social media. I've been following some of the things you do, and like,
Mm.
you know, all the things you do sweating outside in Texas lately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to bring you on. And so before we jump into the hunting story and everything else, you want to tell everybody
Yeah.
what you do?
Yeah. Man, I kind of do a little bit of everything. I'm fortunate enough that I get to work with some really cool companies in the space, and I worked for a company called Strong Coffee part time, so I help them out with it's kind of like my day jobs, operations, inventory management, event management, stuff like that. And then recently started working for the Tactical Games, which is more my full time gig now, and that's a fitness and firearms sporting event that has gotten a lot of traction over the last couple of years. It's a lot of fun. If you guys haven't checked it out, heavily suggest that you do. So I also help with event management there, brand partnerships. So it's an awesome crew. It's a heavily growing sport. So I'm really fortunate to be a part of that. And then in the downtime that I find for myself, it's just everything and anything within the archery and bow hunting space, and then also in the fitness space as well too. So again, kind of do a little bit of everything, man. So I'm blessed to be able to do a lot of things that I love to do.
Well, and you're recent. Did I see you're recently married?
I am, yeah, yeah. I just got
Okay,
married
so
last month, yeah, in May.
congratulations on that. How's that been
Yeah,
going so
thank you.
far?
It's been awesome, man. Marriage is a beautiful thing. I'm super fortunate to have a wife that's very supportive and loves to see me do the things that I love to do. So it's cool to be able to share that with her, and she's just the best, man. I'm very, very lucky there.
Someone that'll put up with your nonsense.
Hey, man, she's stuck with me for life now. So
That's
there's no
right,
givesies back.
sucker.
There's no givesies backsies. Yep,
That's
exactly.
right. That's cool. You guys date for a long time?
About 2.5 years. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I
Yep.
like it. So how
Yep.
old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. So
but
so she's like, it looks like she works out a lot too with you.
she does. Yeah. Yeah. She does. Yeah. Her and I get after it together for sure. Yeah.
Cool.
She's awesome, man. Again, she's very motivating, super supportive, and we love a lot of the same things. So it's cool to be able to share a lot of that stuff with each other.
You get her out hunting yet?
Not yet. Not yet. That's still just for me.
Sure, that's fair. You gotta have your own thing. I'm liking the
Yeah,
flex in the
exactly.
background. You get your bow hanging there. Usually, someone
Yeah,
will
man.
call in with either a sump skull behind them
Yeah.
or a bow. So like you fit right in to all the
Yeah.
guests we've ever had.
Thanks,
So
man. Yeah, no, a buddy up north. His name's LeGrand Metalworks. He did this sign for me, custom DNA archery sign. So super stoked to get that in the office here, and then got my PSD behind me. So, got all the things that I love.
I love it. That's great.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fair Chase podcast. We're going to take a few seconds here to thank a few sponsors that helped make this show possible.
We are big fans of having glass with you when you're in the woods. So whether we're turkey hunting, bear hunting, deer hunting, whatever we're doing, we're bringing some sort of glass. Actually, one of the new fun pieces of glass that we've added to our collection were the UHD 18 by 56s.
Big boys.
I like them because then you don't need to bring a full spotter, and you can still do pretty well.
Yeah.
I like the 2 eyes. So we love Vortex. We use a lot of their optics on our rifles, on our chest when we're out.
Rangefinders, they got
Rangefinders, amazing. So we'll love them. Go check them out. And actually, if you're going to buy some, check out Midway USA and use the promo code TFC10 for 10% off your order. I promise you won't be disappointed. Go check them out, Vortex Optics.
HuntWise is an awesome app. There's a lot of them out there. This one's definitely our favorite. They're local here in Grand Rapids, have their headquarters here. They have an awesome HuntCast 2.0 that's going to give you weather prediction, wind prediction, anything based off the pin and property that you're hunting to give you the best day to get out there and hunt. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Go get this app, huntwise.com.
It's no secret we've been shooting method arrows for a long time. Well, it might be because they used to be called vector arrows. Their method arrows now are super tough, great shooting arrows, great weight. And what's really cool about them is you enter your bow specs in, weight, draw length, all that stuff, and they will send
No more charts.
No more.
Let them deal with it.
The smart dudes who we've had on our show in the past figure it out for you, send you ready to go arrows,
ready to shoot.
Go check them out. Method Archery. We've shot a lot of bows, but for the past 5 or so years, we've been shooting prime bows. Love the way they shoot, super stable. And what we're really excited about, great warranty. And this year they rolled out the RevX series, which is pretty sweet. We've been talking about the different RevXs we're going to be shooting.
And you're going in the 6Y?
I'm deciding to shoot the 36, which is a
the
longer
only reason he's choosing the 36
is because I figure the bigger the bow, the bigger the buck. So we're going to test that out. Follow us this year to see if that actually happens. But that's what I'm shooting. You're shooting the RevX 4. Yep. So anyways, we love Prime. Michigan company. Great guys. Go check them out. G5prime.com. We put a lot of miles on whether we're hunting.
Boots.
Yeah, on our boots. Whether it's Alaska out west, even here in Michigan.
Let's just say the muck boots were left in the truck.
Yes. So we need something that's comfortable, that'll keep us dry, that's durable, and actually we like a little stiffer soled when we're hunting from our platform when we're saddle hunting. So we wear Lathrop & Son boots. I've been wearing the Mountain Hunter Encompass, and yours is the
Mountain Hunter Elite.
Great boots. Great guys from down in Illinois, the Lathrop brothers. Had them on an episode in the past. Go check it out. Go check out their boots, Lathrop & Sons.
If you didn't already know that James and I are saddle hunters, then you do now. And if you don't like it, then go listen to somebody else because we're going to talk about saddles. We wear Trophy Line tree saddles because we think they're awesome. And they come out with some awesome new products all the time. They just came out with the new Venatic saddle that is seriously the best saddle I've ever sat in. And I've sat in quite a bit of them. They also have the new Onyx platform out.
I spent some time on it this fall.
I've spent some time on it. It's pretty sweet. And they're going to continue to come out with sweet products just like those two. So stay tuned to them. They've got social media, trophyline.com. And save yourself 10%. TFC 10.
It's no use having an awesome bow if you don't have great accessories. So sights, stabilizers, things like that. And so that's why we chose to work with Redline Bow Accessories. And so those guys are coming out with amazing new things, whether it be new stabilizers or sights like this. If you're watching on our YouTube or video podcast, this new torch sight. So we're huge fans of this sight. Double pin. You know what? Go check out our past episode with them or check out their website. There's a ton to like about this site. Their stabilizers are great, and actually some of their quivers are incredible.
Yes.
So go check them out. Listen to the last episode we did with them. Oh, and save yourself 10% with the code TFC10.
When did you get into bow hunting or hunting in general?
Dude,
Not very long ago, actually. So a little over 2 years ago.
Really?
Sometime, a little bit after my 29th birthday, I got a wild bug up my ass to be like, you know what, I want to get a bow. I want to start shooting. I was just I've been toying around with it for a couple of years. And where I was living before in Southern California, like there was just nowhere to do anything like that whatsoever. I'm born and raised in Northern California in a real small town outside of like some larger cities. And hunting wasn't really a thing in my area. That was just never really on the radar. So when I was living in Southern California, I'd wanted to kind of toy around with it and, at least get a bow and go shooting. But it's just like you're in a big city. There's not really anywhere that kind of like is conducive to doing anything like that. And I didn't know anybody that hunted or shot a bow. So it was just kind of like, might as well been on another planet for me. So I never really entertained it. And moving to Texas, I've been coming here for work for a few years, finally made the jump. And I was like, I'm gonna get a bow. I found one on Craigslist. Got a really good deal on a Bear Approach HC. Yeah, good and great, solid bow. But it's kind of daunting to be like, okay, I want to get a bow, but like it's not like buying a recurve bow. There's like, okay, you got to get a bow, you got to get a sight, got to get, you got to get all the things that go on it. And it's like, I don't know anything. So it's,
Right.
you got to do a ton of research. So, and there's so much out there, it's like, who are you going to listen to, who the people in the space listen to and all that. So I finally landed on that bow and got it dialed in, shot the first arrow, and I was just hooked from there, man. Like I was immediately just like, man, this is awesome. I put an arrow on target, shot a good shot. And from then on, man, I was in the rabbit hole, dude. It was just so cool to me to be able to see like, you making adjustments on your bow and seeing tangible results come in front of you while you're on range at an archery range. And I'm fortunate enough living in Austin. I've got the Austin Archery Club out here, which is like a 60-acre all open outdoor bow hunters course. We've got two 3D target bow hunter courses there. So I mean, you've got tons of different shot scenarios. It's quiet. You're in the middle of the hills in Austin or in Texas. It's perfect, dude. So I'm very fortunate there. But that's how I gotten into it, man. Like I said, I just got a wild hair of my ass to get a bow and started shooting it and just fell in love with it from the jump, man. And
well, the 3D course being near you is sweet.
Yeah, super lucky that I have that. Absolutely, yeah. Because most people have an indoor range, which is fine. That's where you can get your practice in, or if you've got space to be able to have a target at your house, even better. But not everybody has access to that. So having the archery club close by was a huge blessing to be able to have.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just fun, especially go with friends. It's adds a little like element of stress because everybody's watching you shoot, which is good to have. And yeah, we went this last weekend. I'll put it on social media today at some point. I got the 2 smallest ticks I've ever had on me, like literally like the size of a period in a sentence. And I didn't have any idea. We go shoot, and I, by the way, cleaned up just for everybody listening. Definitely a lot better shooter than Jared. Just he's not even here to say anything about it, so don't even worry about asking him. Exactly. So I'm sitting there. I get home. I decide to go work out, and I'm doing I can't even remember what they're called. You put basically your weighted butterflies, right? You're just trying to get warmed up, and I look at my inner thigh. I'm like, that is like a little thorn or something in there, and it's like a little just tiny. I would never have seen it, right? It would have been there forever. So I pull it out and I go upstairs. I'm like, man, what do I, trying to deal with it. And I look at my arm, and sure enough, just randomly see another one. And I can't even believe that I saw it. It's so small.
Yeah.
So the rest of the day, I'm just like feeling my hair. I'm like, do I shave all of my body to make sure that there's nothing hiding,
Yeah.
So we're having terrible problem with ticks this year compared to what we've normally had. But do you guys have ticks down there?
We do, yeah, we definitely have ticks down here. Yeah, there's you get the Lone Star tick, and there's, I believe, I don't know what the name of like the disease is that it gives you, but if if you do get bitten by a specific type of tick that carries it, it'll actually give you like a you basically can't digest red meat.
Yeah,
it's a very weird disease that it gives.
Real bummer for a hunter.
Yeah, absolutely. So try to steer clear of ticks as best as possible.
No, it's so anyways, yeah, that and you have what's kind of interesting, and I've seen this with guys that we brought on that maybe they'll say like adult onset hunter, like basically somebody that got into it later on. When I got into it, I mean, I wanted to, since we had kind of a family of hunting and so like I just knew that when I was young, if I got a bow, I could hunt earlier than with a gun. It gave me 2 extra years. So I was like, I'm picking up a bow, but I didn't know anybody that really shot a bow. I had no training for form or anything. And so you get, it's been over 20 years now. And the bad habits that I have been going for 20 plus years. Right. And so it's like, I talk to guys that are newer, and it's like, it's almost nice because you get to start from scratch. And so your form, you see, a lot of times see guys with way better form. And some of the buddies that I have that have been doing it forever, they're punching the trigger. They're doing all the things that you're not supposed to do. But it's like, you were given a bow when you're 12 years old and just been like, all right, go. When I first started, I didn't have a release. I shot bare fingers off my compound bow because I didn't know any better, I remember my sight. I remember thinking all my pins, it felt like one pin should be center, one should be to the right, and one like that. for some reason I thought my left and right would be different at different ranges. Like I was
Yeah.
a mess, you know. And so there is something kind of cool to doing it as you get older, and there's tons of resources now that weren't available like
Correct.
plus years ago, you know.
Yeah. I mean, being able to have, I mean, just YouTube itself,
Yeah.
you know, like you can get yourself a degree in anything. If
Yeah.
you spend enough time on YouTube and you really want to get after it, like you can figure anything else out. Like between YouTube, podcasts, a handful of different books that I read, like that's where I spent the bulk of my time when I was trying to figure it all out. And then going out and doing some like monthly shoots at the club and getting comfortable with that, and just meeting people there, going to my local pro shop at Archery Country up here, which is, I'm lucky to live in Austin because I have an amazing club and an amazing pro shop to go to. So it's like right there, I've got, so many resources to be able to tap into with the people that go in and out of those shops and in the club there. So yeah, man. And then went to Total Archery Challenge probably about a month after I picked up my bow in San Antonio. So I got to cut my teeth there and humble myself a little bit and lose a bunch of arrows, but made some friends and had an awesome time. And, that kind of just shoved me deeper in the rabbit hole after that as well too. So kind of just like a perfect storm, everything kind of coming together when I first picked it up.
And it's so cool, man, when you're shooting a long shot and you can see the arrow kind of do the flight of the arrow is a beautiful thing. Like that's one of the best parts.
Yeah, it's addicting for sure, man. It's addicting.
So you've been hunting a couple of years now, right? Like you're relatively new. And so hunting stories, as you have probably kind of picked up, is like a huge part of hunting. It's like the lore, the fairy tales, like the legends, that that are half truth, half not a lot of the time, that get told around deer camp. So like, when you think hunting story, you have a little bit of a different perspective than maybe some of the guys we've had on that have, been 50 years hunting or whatever. What comes to mind? Like, what do you think of when you think of like a great hunting story you've been a part of?
Yeah. So, I mean, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, man. Like my hunting stories are a little different, right? Like I don't have an extensive experience. I don't have a lot of extensive experience doing, crazy hunts, but last summer I really wanted to, go hog hunting. So I spent a ton of time, going through like different public land spots out here in Texas. So, going to like Dime Box, Granger. And then I had a client of mine who I used to work with, and he had some property out in San Marcos. So I went hog hunting probably 6 times last year and got my ass kicked almost every single time, except for the last time I finally went and killed my first hog in July last year. And, like going through like Dime Box and Granger, like public land hunting, Texas sucks. It's not the best,
Well, there's not a
so
lot
it's like 5%. It's like 5% of the state is public, and it's just not the best, right? Like you can get it done for sure, but it's just a tough hunt. So
is it pretty busy there? Like a lot of folk around?
You see a lot of people, and it's just like there's certain times of the year, like if you're like so I went like late spring after we've had a ton of rain, and like you will literally wade through grass. I'm 6'1", you'll wade through grass that's as tall as you are, and you're going through it, and you're like, okay, I'm either going to get bit by a snake, I'm going to get bit by a tick, or I'm going to get run over by a hog because I can't see shit. And you will literally walk up on massive beds, like all matted down grass and all that stuff. You can hear pigs close by, so it's like, you got to kind of get through this one spot to get where you want to get, so it's it's a little dicey in certain places. But my first hog I shot, so I go to this guy's property, and it's set up for rifle hunting, so everything's about 150 to 200 yards away. So I'm having to get out and stalk, so which is fine. I'm happy to do that. It's a lot of fun. So I'm waiting for a couple hours, and this is middle of July in Texas. I'm sweating just breathing, let alone any movement that I'm doing.
Existing.
Yeah, exactly. And I end up, I'm literally sweating through my pants. It's so damn hot in the blind. I've got all the windows open, and I'm waiting like hours. I've got no pigs coming by. Finally, like around 7:30, a big group of pigs start coming through, and I put a stalk on. I stalk in about 120 yards. I get about 50 yards away from them, and as soon as I get close enough to where I'm like I want to take a shot, they cut around and go through a hole and go to the next pasture. So I have to double back 150 yards, go around to the other pasture, stalk in. I end up getting to about, I think I shot that pig at 35, 36 yards. Got a shot off. Great shot. Pig cut away. And then all the other hogs start to kind of circle around me, but in the cedar trees, like on the edge of the tree line. So I can't see them, but I can hear them running back and forth, squealing, going crazy. It's just me out there. I don't have snake boots on. I got my pistol on me, so I pull my pistol out, and I'm wondering, like, I'm like thinking these pigs are gonna come around and fucking run me over and
Yeah.
whatnot. So luckily, I just sit and I'm super quiet for about 10 minutes. And of course, this pig went all the way. When I start to track it, she goes through like the thickest part of the cedar and mesquite trees that were there on the property. Like I said, don't have snake boots. So I'm wandering around if I'm gonna step on a rattlesnake. I'm going through cactus, thick mesquite trees, thorns, shit like that. So I was probably like 80 yards through this brush when I finally found the hog that I shot. And it died in the middle of the cactus. so I had to manage that as well too. But it was cool, man. It was the first time I'd killed an animal by myself. Usually I have a couple buddies with me that I'm hunting with. So that was the first time that, like, I put a stock on a pig myself. First time I killed a pig myself. Tracked it, found it, pulled it back, and then got it all quartered and cleaned up and all that. So it was a really fun experience, man. It was a grind for sure. Hot day, and all the fun things that could go wrong or could go weird on a hunt kind of went on that day. But dude, I had a great time, man. Just cracked a beer open as I got it back to my buddy's property where he's got the cleaning area, and cracked a beer open, got to work and cleaned it up, and then took some meat home that night and made a real good dinner for my wife, and it was great, man. It was a really good day.
I think that might be my favorite thing, when you're alone and you shoot something.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just different. Really is.
It's cool to be with a buddy and to celebrate, but something about
like
when it's quiet and you walk up to what you shot, no one else is around, and you like, it's just you and that thing, like in the quiet. It's just different,
It is, man. It's a really cool experience, and it's just like it's very self-fulfilling. I think that's one of the really cool things about hunting in general, and the practice of archery, is it shows you that you can get some very tangible results in practice, and it gives you a lot of sense of humility, and it humbles you a lot. So it builds a lot of like very good sound characteristics for a person. And having that ability of like self-reliance and seeing that you can get something done if you really put your mind to it and practice a lot at it, it's really empowering, man. And that's something that bleeds into a lot of other aspects of your life, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I would imagine there's a lot of overlap between that, and like, I know you're training a lot. There's a lot of similarities between the two.
Definitely. It's I kind of apply the same framework as with my training as I do with as I have with archery and bow hunting. So I'm by no means a professional. I'm so new to it. Like there's so much to still learn. But again, just happy to be doing what I'm doing in the space, and just enjoying myself and doing something.
Just having fun, because it's at the end, it's just a really fun thing to do.
Yep, exactly, man. Exactly.
How'd you like eating that pig? How'd it taste?
It was great. We ended up I ended up searing it, or doing a reverse sear. I baked it in the oven first, some rosemary, garlic, roasted potatoes, some broccolini. It was awesome. I love to cook, so like my lady and I love to cook, so we made a really good dinner with it.
The broccolini is a family favorite of ours. Love it.
It's money,
so
dude.
Good.
It's awesome. Yep.
I haven't had it.
Can't go wrong with it.
We get our produce from like a farm, so it's
like nice.
Whatever they're growing. Like, and I don't know when we had broccoli. Usually that's an earlier in the season thing, because it's like a young broccoli, right?
Yeah.
Broccolini.
Yeah.
Roasted it, some just olive oil and salt, and so good.
Yeah, it's delicious, man. Yeah, it's a good staple.
So you got some pigs. You got deer under your belt yet? How are you doing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The first animal I shot was a doe on my buddy's property in West Texas here. They have a lease out in Junction. So we go hunting out there. And then I shot my first buck last season as well too, out in Uvalde at a ranch out there. So that was a great experience. Probably my best and worst shot, I would say, was on that buck. I shot it twice. I shot it at 46 yards, and it was a little bit far back, hit him in the ribs, and it ricocheted up and hit him in the spine. And he dropped. And then I got out of my my tree stand and walked into about 40 yards, and then put another shot right in his heart, and then he went down immediately, which was good.
What
but I felt bad about I felt horrible about the first shot. but I just could not get him to come in, and 46 yards was going to be the only shot I had on him. So
Yeah.
I was like,
And if you
I'm going to
practice
take
to
it.
that, yeah. And if it's we always get a lot of questions about like range and like,
Yeah,
it's just hard to see. I don't know. It's
it's
like, well,
relative.
what's your max effective range? It's like, well, it
Yeah.
depends because it
Mhm.
like so many factors, like weather, what the deer's doing, just how I'm feeling. Am I
Yeah,
feeling lethal that day? Because
correct.
sometimes you
Yeah,
just don't, and it's like, I'm just gonna
yeah,
wait then.
correct. Yeah.
But I've got some buddies who would rather than a follow-up shot, they do the jump on the deer and slit its throat with a knife.
Yeah, yeah,
I've never done it, and like they always like,
yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, yeah, until I get like a hoof that splits me from stem to stern. Uh,
Yeah,
I just am not wild enough for that. I don't know why. And maybe I'm less of a man. Maybe that there's something to that, because they always look at me like, dude, you don't do that. I'm like, no, I don't jump on an animal and
yeah.
slice it up. No.
That one I've not done that one either. I'll probably take the follow-up shot before
Yeah, I do
I
too.
go I go for slitting something's throat.
I'll waste the broadhead, but no, it's I've known a few guys and they always end up like, yeah, and it shredded my clothes. I'm like, I don't want to shred my clothes. I don't want to do any of this and get it bloodied up from some deer. I can just take it out by shooting it
No.
again.
No, dude. The whole I mean, fuck, dude. The whole idea for everything is to like practice. Ideally, you practice enough to where you get a good shot off the first time, and it's
Right.
obviously it doesn't happen like that. The world's not perfect, so it's like just get another shot off and try to kill it quickly instead of like terrifying it even more because it doesn't really
I
know
know.
what's going on, right? Like it just
Yeah.
knows it got hit with something, and it's like you're going over there with the knife. Hey, you know what? If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I'm not going to knock it, but as far as like the animal's concerned, like I don't want to
Freak it out
terrorize
more.
it like that.
Isn't
Yeah,
that bad for the
yeah.
meat? Stress right before it dies. Doesn't that do
That's what I
something?
hear. That's what I hear. I've never like actually looked into like any studies about it, but I have heard that like it dumps I can't remember the name of the chemical that it dumps out of the brain in the meat, but apparently it does
My
make the meat
palate is not
tasty.
refined enough to taste it. It's just me.
I don't think mine is either, but who
That's
knows?
fine. I like to live that way. A little ignorance is not a bad thing.
No, that's what
You
ignorance is bliss. That's what they say.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So now this year, you've got hogs and deer under your belt. Like,
Mhm.
what's your next challenge? I would imagine you're a guy that likes to figure out new challenges. So what would
Yeah,
it be?
absolutely. Yeah, man. So I did my first elk hunt last year too, which was a lot of fun. I went with a couple of buddies who it was all our first time elk hunting. So we went out to Colorado and cut our teeth out there for 8 days and had an awesome time. I unfortunately didn't get to take an elk home, but I got in some good opportunities to put on some stocks and get some practice in there and make some mistakes and piss myself off. So
Yeah.
it was an awesome experience. So I'll be going elk hunting again this year in Colorado. And then I've got a black bear hunt that I'm planning out in Tennessee. So we'll be doing that as well too.
Fall Tennessee black bear.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Baited?
I believe so. Yeah. It's not
Cool.
my property, so I'll figure out what
Yeah.
they're cool with doing. But yeah, we'll be doing a fall Tennessee black bear hunt. So I'm really looking forward to that. Black bear is really high on my list. I don't know if it's just because it's a predator and it's a little kind of like brings a different angle to the hunt. But I've been wanting to do that since before I even started hunting. I always thought doing a black bear hunt would be really cool.
Yeah.
Just kind of hearing like reading books when you grow up about like, frontiersmen hunting bear or, certain movies where it's just like, that element is in there. It's just always just kind of like alluring to me, and black bear meat is supposed to be really good as well too. So, especially up in Tennessee where, they're probably eating a ton of berries out in that area. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we got heavily into bear hunting. And just once you jump in, it's like that's like one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Like whether it's spring or fall or whatever method, we've pretty much done them all the like run with dogs, over bait, spot and stalk, off a boat. And it's just, and the meat is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's what I hear. Yeah. How's it off a boat?
Good. We just did that this spring.
Nice.
And so it's basically, and we're actually, and then I'll use this as a teaser for everybody listening. We'll have a film coming out about it. Very detailed film coming for Vortex out in about a month and a half, 2 months.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. And so we took a boat out of Homer and lived on the boat, and then you spot and stalk bears. Either the idea was to get them right on the coast. The winter hung on a little longer this year, and we had like rough rough weather. So it changed our tactics up a little bit that we'll probably dive into in the film a bunch. But
Yeah,
oh, we had a blast. I mean, came out with fish and bear and just all the good stuff. Halibut and
that's
cod was
exciting.
like our thing. So
Oh
yeah,
man,
good
I'll
stuff.
have to pick your brain out about that, about the logistics of that, because I would love to do that, man. That sounds like an awesome time.
Absolutely. Yeah, happy to. And like for anybody listening, very doable, not that expensive. It's
Mhm.
not cheap, but because you have to get an
Yeah,
outfit and you're living on some guy's boat for a week. But you get a
yeah.
handful of guys or gals together. And I mean,
Hmm.
if you want an adventure and like, especially if you go, what I've learned is after May 15 is when, they're really on the shore. It's like bear hunting in the
Hmm.
spring gets better. And we went a lot earlier than that.
Hmm.
But like if you want adventure and like a target rich environment and fish to go with it, like
Yeah,
it's hard to beat.
that sounds like a great time. Yeah, I'll definitely pick your brain about that offline for sure. That sounds like a
Yeah.
good time.
So you got good stuff coming. I know you what tell me with DNA archery, like what do you
Mhm.
guys do? What's your thing?
Yeah, man. So I had initially started DNA archery. So kind of like backing up to when I, was just getting into archery and bow hunting. I was noticing initially that there wasn't like a ton of content in the space where it was like somebody a little bit newer talking to people that want to get into the space. It's kind of like I'll never be in a position where it's like I'm going to give any advice to anybody that's been doing this for years. That's not my place. That's not what I'm doing. But I have enough wins under my belt over the last couple of years where it's like I wanted to start a business that created content for the newer bow hunter, right? For people who didn't grow up hunting that want to get into it and want to kind of like know like what the blueprint is to figure that out, because there is a lot to do with like figuring out like, okay, this is the brand of bow I want to shoot, but now I got to figure out all the accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got my bow, like where do I practice? And then who do I listen to? Who are some good figureheads in the space that I should listen to? So kind of like breaking that all down and creating content around that has been what I've been doing with DNA archery. Initially we started selling some merch, and I'll eventually kind of get back into doing that as well. But really, it was kind of like helping educate people and just like getting good reviews and like putting people in the right direction of like, hey, this is your question about X, Y, or Z. This is my advice, and I just always speak from like my personal experience, what's worked for me, and trying to help people to get off on their own road and figure it out as well too. So
Well,
DNA
it's a
archery
great
is
way
all
to
about like
learn
helping a new
too.
bow hunter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
that for us, we've talked about this at length, but like we started doing this for a similar reason. Like we had been hunting for a long time, but it's like,
Hmm.
and if you have a podcast and stuff, you can have anybody come on your podcast and you can ask them any question. So
Yeah,
it's like, sweet, I get to pick whoever I want. And like, no one says no, which is kind of
yeah,
cool. Like everybody's willing to do it. People are super gracious with their time. And it's like, well, that's awesome because now I can learn something that I didn't know
correct.
from a new perspective or a new way of doing things. And so man,
Hmm.
even the things you learn along the way from people who like you, and I'm sure you've seen this, people do things so many different ways. A
Yeah.
lot of times there's not really a right way, whether you're a big scent guy or you're
Hmm.
whatever your thing is. And it's like, man, people make it work in all sorts of stuff. Our first interview was with a guy, speaking of scent, who was like convinced, like he's convinced he can become totally scent free. He doesn't play the wind.
Hmm.
He has a special van that he drives that is scent free in the van. His clothes are in case it like everything is scent free, scent
Hmm.
free, scent free. And he, like to his credit, like he shoots giant deer regularly. He's got a bunch of
Yeah.
Michigan record bucks. So like, who am I to
Yeah.
say
He's doing
that's
something right.
ridiculous?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's the
it's
funny thing, dude, is like on social media, it's like people are so quick to dog somebody just because it's like they're doing something a different way than the way they do it, right? Or it's like you can skin a cat 1,000 different ways. It's like if
yeah,
it works for somebody else and it's not breaking the law and it's not hurting anybody else, let them do it. Who
yeah.
cares? What does it matter? So it's like it's cool. It's cool to see people's different little nuances and things that they feel like work really well for them. And that's the best thing about social media and YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform you get your info from, is that you can take everything in from all these different people and figureheads in the space, boil it down, and then just use what works for you,
Yeah. Try
and
it
kind
all
of figure
out.
it out. Hmm.
Yeah. And that's my big thing too. It's like if you're listening and you're kind of in this part of your life and trying to figure it out, like try it all.
Yeah.
because just because somebody says it, it might work for them, but you
Mhm.
either might not like it, it might not make the experience fun, or it just might
Yeah.
not work for you. And like, if you're not out there trying anything, and I mean like get crazy, get creative,
Mhm.
you're just not going to learn as much, and you won't find your own thing.
Yeah.
And so excited, we've met people who just try ridiculous ways to shoot a deer or to, and it works for them, and it doesn't work for
Yeah.
everybody. So half the fun is just figuring out your own thing.
Yep. Exactly. And that's how it should be, man. It's like figuring out what works for you and just keep running with it from there and refining it. And, eventually you get a whole system down.
Absolutely. Well, Nick,
Mhm.
we're up on time here. But for people who want to know more about you, follow you, and the
Mhm.
things you're doing, where can they find you? Where can they get all this information about DNA, the stuff you're doing, and everything else?
Yeah. So Instagram, YouTube's all the same. It's me, Thwack, THWAACK. And then our website's DNA Archery at DNAarchery.com. And Instagram handles DNA Archery Co. So you can all find it. It'll be all of my personal profile. So it's all easily
Yeah.
accessible.
Yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody go check them out. I definitely been following along, and it's been fun. So no, I appreciate you coming on. It's good to meet you kind of formally here.
Yeah.
So everybody else can watch us meet. And yeah, if you need anything along the way, let me know.
I appreciate it. Likewise. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the time.